Man, this music, man, always fades out before I'm ready. Okay, cool. I'm back. This is a casual Saturday stream, an early morning stream. A lot of people might not even know this, but I am an early riser. I get up at like 6 a.m. every single day, weekend, weekday, does not matter. Which also means I'm usually in bed by 10. So, um, yeah, it works for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I like, I like to be an early morning kind of guy. Since yesterday with the Ultra Scuff stream, after I found out afterwards, I went back to see if OBS succeeded or not in the job of, streaming, which I think, as far as I know, is what it's supposed to do. It was so choppy. It was an utter mess. I'm not even going to clip farm all my, content. And then also I had so many interruptions in the middle of it that I'm just going to pretend like yesterday didn't even happen. So today is a little bit of a makeup stream. I tested an hour yesterday. I did a full hour gaming stream yesterday to just see if it will go through, see if OBS will just fucking work. After I adjusted a bunch of settings, made sure that it was using my hardware, like my graphics card, to do processing and stuff. I think that might have been the key because, as far as I can tell, the entire stream that I put up for World of Warcraft yesterday, just doing LFR and stuff, was successful. There wasn't any choppiness. I even checked today before I started stream, or like while I was waiting to actually start, I checked and verified that it didn't look choppy. My new intro screen, my starting soon screen or whatever, it looked smooth as fuck. So hopefully it's not just going to instantaneously shit the bed again as I do my actual content, but who knows? Who knows? Um, so yeah, this morning I woke up. I actually woke up at 5 a.m. and because I just couldn't get back to sleep after that. So I did an early morning workout. I did legs. I hate legs. It's my least favorite day. But you got to do it. Unfortunately, I have very awkwardly shaped legs. I think where I have very long, relatively long quads or whatever, or like that portion of my leg is long compared to like my shin or whatever. It makes any sort of squat motion pretty rough for me. And I only work out with dumbbells, so I'm doing like Bulgarian split squats, which like feel, really relatively awkward for me, but they're the only thing I've ever found that gets my quads like sore at all in terms of using dumbbells, so that's what I do. Um, but overall, the workout felt pretty good. I think I didn't really go up in weight, but I think my form got a little bit better. So that's still progressive overload in my book. But um, then I took a shower, and you might notice that I am wearing contacts today. Ooh, fancy. um, I I decided for this. Well, I'm about to later on. I'm going canvassing for Corey Bush. So last time I was wearing my glasses and the glare of the sun and everything. I don't know. I was just like, I think next time I'll wear contacts. So you guys get to see me in contacts for once instead of just being my usual lazy work from home self who only ever wears glasses. But lucky you, lucky you. You get to look into my bloobs, as my wife calls them, my blue eyes. Do you see them? It's probably too far away. Um, okay. So anyway, today's stream is going to be a relatively casual one. Um, I didn't really prepare anything besides the videos that I didn't get to yesterday because the stream was so scuffed. So I might start with some of those, but honestly, after that, I might just go through my homepage, click on anything that looks interesting, give some analysis. I'll probably at some point in the future start scrolling through some news articles trying to find something and going on X, the everything app, my favorite app. Not really, but I only go on it for content, and so but there is good content over there, so you got to do it, unfortunately. Um, okay, so I figured I'll just start with this video that was on my content pilled playlist that I didn't get to yesterday. Uh, this is I'm assuming they're talking about. I watched some clips from the Tech Aichi like press conference or whatever. Honestly, I don't. Um, she's a little freak. She's a little right wing freak from Japan. Seems to be aligning really closely with America, even more closely than maybe more closely than like Abe and stuff. But um, I don't know. Maybe it's about the same. Who knows? Uh, it's weird these fascist movements in like other countries or these right wing movements. I guess maybe I don't know if I would call their like this political party fascist necessarily, but the right wing movements they always tend to uh, they always tend to like instead of being like very jingoistic in terms of their own country, they're very jingoistic in terms of America, which is very interesting to me because it's like if you're going to be fascist, your whole thing is supposed to be like nationalism for you, but it's like they're trying to get some like global fascist movement all like, bankrolled and supported and propped up by America. Um, but then America is like, fuck the rest of the world. We don't care about the global fascist movement. We just want to, like, we don't care about global fascism. We just want to be fascists at home, or at least that's what a lot of like the hardcore MAGA people say. But anyway, I'm rambling. I always do. This is Fox News, my favorite animal. Fox is going to tell us about this. And the reason I picked this one is because it has Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. For those unaware, I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure with Shark Tank. I actually enjoy Shark Tank quite a lot, which is, as an anti-capitalist, like don't tell my DSA members or whatever. I'm just kidding. I don't think what you consume in any way indicates your actual belief system or whatever. But I think Shark Tank is like incredible content. It's so fun to me. um, but anyway, this is Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. This has never happened before. Let's see what he has to say.
Just heard today's bilateral meeting between President Trump and Japan's Prime Minister Takaichi. Her visit comes after the commander-in-chief called out Tokyo for refusing to help escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Japan and allies have since said they'd be ready to help. When asked if he was satisfied with the...
By the way, what they said is they would be willing to maybe consider possibly doing something around or in the area. Like it's the most wishy-washy ass statement I've ever heard. They are not going to be escorting ships. I will guarantee you that because if they did, they would get their ship blasted. Their ships would be at the bottom of the ocean. So they will probably send a couple ships over around the area to support like intel or something along those lines, but it will have no material impact on the actual Strait of Hormuz opening.
Level of Japan's support on Iran, Trump said they are really stepping up to the plate. He also said on Iran, their leaders are gone. They're looking for new leaders again. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno here with my co-host, Kaylee Mack.
Oh, God. Okay. Sorry, I was going to say it's weird that they have a non-blonde person on Fox News. I thought that was like illegal there. I thought you weren't allowed to hire non-blonde people, but then they...
Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno here with my co-host.
But then they instant cut to this and it blinded my eyes, the platinum blonde hair. So
Kaylee McEnany and Harris Faulkner. And also joining us today, Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, and Kevin O'Leary.
I've grown to despise anyone who wears glasses, like the insane glasses frames, and it's no fault of most of the people who do it. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of nice people who do it, but Kirsten Cinema literally fucked it for me. Like, I cannot look at these, like, anyone who wears glasses like this and think that they're anything but, like, I don't know, like a lying, like, like someone you can't take seriously or whatever, like a lying sack of shit basically. So that's what I see every time I see these types of glasses now. I see a lying sack of shit. So I'm sorry, this lady.
Chairman of
Oh,
O'Leary
there he is.
Ventures. I come to you first because we saw
By the way, he did great in Marty Supreme. I really liked that movie. And I kind of hate Kevin O'Leary to be honest, but in Marty Supreme he did a great job, and I think it's because he didn't really have to act that much.
a lot going on there, including, I think, a quip that was heard around the world when there was a question by a Japanese reporter that said essentially, why, President Trump, did you not give more notice to Iran before the strikes? With him responding, you didn't give us notice before Pearl Harbor. It was interesting, however, when he talked about the investment the United States has made in Japan, 45,000 troops there currently. He said a lot of money that we've invested, sort of underscoring the depths and the history of the relationship, notwithstanding Pearl Harbor.
Yes, I would say.
Well, okay. I've said before, this is just, it's not like we don't do this out of the goodness of our heart. Like putting troops on their ground and stuff. It's to impose imperial dominance on the region. It's to counterbalance China primarily. So this isn't some like, I don't know, like one-way street. It's the same with like NATO. He thinks that like, oh, we like engage in NATO as like, and we prop it up and it's all like we're doing all the work or whatever, but it's a two-way street. Like they give us diplomatic support, they become vassalized to us, and therefore we can use that vassalization for like political, opportunities, such as, for instance, defending Israel at the UN. Like so there's plenty of other things, obviously, but that's just like one that comes to mind. But anyway.
Depths and the history of the relationship, notwithstanding Pearl Harbor.
What a
Yes,
surprise.
I would say regarding these open venue, watch the sausage being made, White House meetings with world leaders. This is not the first time this has happened. And some people hate them, some people love them, but you're seeing policy being made right there. And it's very transparent. It's a little disturbing when you get comments like that reach so far back into history. However, end of the story on policy. Here are the numbers. I'm a numbers guy, and I'm outnumbered, so let's deal with some numbers. About 70% of the oil that services the Japanese economy is one way or another affected by this Strait of Hormuz. And so,
True.
I mean, let's put it on the table. They're going to have to come there and provide some kind of support. I don't know what
are
the
they gonna
price
do?
is going to be. I'm guessing when I say this, but I think I'm right.
I've said already also, if America can't open the strait, then neither can they. Like, nobody's going to be able to open the strait without a negotiated settlement with Iran. That's like just reality.
If you're going to guarantee insurance for every ship, and remember, the strait has its narrowest part 2 miles wide. That's where the action happens when there's attacks and all that. And for the last 10 years, every 9 months, the Houthis or another proxy of Iran would go blow
The Houthis, we lost to them as well. We weren't able to secure the Red Sea. We tucked tail and ran home. So just
something up,
another
keep the
example.
insurance rates high. This whole thing is about stabilizing that, because you don't have that problem with the Panama Canal or any other. The Suez Canal, that's already been done. The world has figured that out. We haven't figured this one out. I call it $4 billion a month to keep this thing insured and properly monitored and safe. Who's going to pay?
That's a stupid.
Now, NATO.
That's a stupid analysis. What good is $4 billion a month in insurance if Iran just blows the shit out of the ships that go through it? Like, that's pointless. Unless we are talking about actually, not like, if we're talking about actually securing Iran from even having the capability to blow up that strait, maybe that's like, maybe saying after that, but like, I personally think that's impossible without a full occupation. So unless we go through a full occupation, I don't really, this is make-believe world. And, I like to live in make-believe world too sometimes, but I don't know. I just think it's silly to think about
Is a
that.
Western phenomenon built after the Second World War to keep the
Sorry, he's talking about NATO, so I'm going to go back real quick.
monitored and safe. Who's going to pay? Now, NATO is a Western phenomenon built after the Second World War to keep the communists at the time from encroaching further west. They're not really grooving on the Middle
that's
East
true.
that much. But now, Germany particularly has to start thinking about it. And I think what this administration is calling out, saying if it's $4 billion, let's say it was $4 billion, everybody has to step on a prorated basis. Even China. Can you imagine our adversary? They got to have this straight open.
But why?
So this is a
Why? China's still getting oil. Iran is still shipping oil. We literally just like unsanctioned the oil coming from Iran through this strait so that it would like flow easier to other places in the world or whatever. Like so other people would have a lifeline in terms of their oil since we're essentially fucking up everybody's energy by going on this war of choice or whatever against Iran. China, this is the best position China has ever been in terms of their energy ever. They are getting cheap oil from Iran through this strait while America, Israel, and none of like its so-called enemies or whatever are able to get like a drop of oil through the strait. Like this is the best situation that could have ever existed for China. And America is clearly unable to open it, which means that the entire world, including NATO, all together would not be able to open it. If America can't do it, nobody can.
crazy chicken situation. Never happened before. By the time this is over, forget about the war is horrible and all that. I get it, but you gotta have a deal where people pay insurance. That's what this is.
Yeah, and on the heels,
Yeah.
Kaylee, of the
Bad
president's
analysis. Bad analysis. He's only looking at it from a money perspective, which I get. He's not a geopolitical analyst or whatever, so he doesn't understand the actual like war considerations of like nobody's going to want to go through that strait if ships are getting blown up at the instant they try. Like, but yeah, that's silly. Also, they still have the option of mining it. They haven't done it yet, but they still have the option of just mining it if they want to. Which would stop all shipments, which is why they haven't done it, because they still want to strategically ship to China, and whatever, allies they see as having or whatever. But they still have that option as well, which they could do if they want to just, essentially make it an unusable strait for like the next decade or so.
suspending the Jones Act temporarily, with all eyes on the Strait of Hormuz and the continued efficacy of it.
That's right. Look, I agree with you. This is the sausage being made. We saw the Zelensky meeting, and we see these moments in the Oval Office. But let me add to that, Kevin. The real sausage is made in the meetings that are to come. And I've been in some of those meetings in the cabinet room with the president. I have watched him be extremely harsh and move foreign leaders by his positions. And I think that's what's going to happen with Takaichi today. They are allies, indeed. But Takaichi has said that it is legally difficult to have a naval operation in the Strait of Hormuz. You're going to have the president behind the scenes twisting the screws, trying to force Japan to step up. And he was complimentary. Yeah. He said
what's happening is he told them to come out and make a statement to calm the markets. That's what's going on. All of these nations that have quote unquote joined on this like naval mission or whatever that they've said, they're just saying that they're going to do something to secure the strait. It's the same way that the UK hopped on the Red Sea thing or whatever back whenever the Houthis were blockading the Red Sea. They came out and said, yeah, we're going to join this mission with the US or whatever to calm essentially calm the markets or whatever. But they didn't do anything. They weren't able to open up the Red Sea, and eventually America just tucked tail and ran. And the only thing that eventually opened up the Red Sea was the quote-unquote ceasefire. I've been using a lot of quote-unquotes today, but that Israel had with Palestine. It's only negotiations that are ever going to get the strait actually open.
They are stepping up to the plate, unlike NATO.
And people, we literally just went through this exact same situation in the Red Sea. Like, it's like a one-to-one comparison, and it was like a year or two ago. I don't understand how people don't get this shit. Like this, we've done this all before. This whole playbook has happened before. And what ended up happening was America tucked tail and left, and eventually there was a negotiated settlement between Israel and Gaza. And then with that negotiated settlement, the Houthis stopped firing on the Red Sea, and then ships were allowed to pass freely again. That's what happened. And the same thing is going to happen here. It won't be Israel and Gaza or whatever. It'll be a complete and total negotiated peace with Iran, is my estimate, if they want to get it open.
I am very interested in this, though. Trey Yingst has reported that during the last Iranian missile barrage, the oil refinery in Haifa was targeted. Why am I interested in that? President Trump put it
Haifa.
out of True Social last night, and he said that if Iran attacks Qatar in their LNG facility, he said we will blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field. So President Trump has warned Iran, step back from these attacks on energy, specifically in Qatar. What happens now? Now that Iran is continuing.
I mean, Iran is going to just target. I mean, they might be strategically going after non-Qatar energy just because of that threat, but those threats hold no water anymore. He has been saying the same shit over and over again, to everybody all the time, everywhere. Like he says it on a weekly basis at this point. If you do X, we will blow you up to a point that you will never understand or what, or like to a place that you will never recover. Like he says it every week, and it never ends up changing anything materially. This is war. War is not some big, like, it's not like one big thing is going to change the course of everything or whatever. It's all about supply lines. It's all about, material conditions. It's all about production. It's all about the boring shit. And it all inevitably becomes a slog, a long, drawn out slog that is just who can outlast the other person. That's how all war ends up becoming. And so that's what this will end up becoming. And I personally think that Iran is like much better situated for that slog.
Continuing these attacks and now attacking a Israeli energy facility. Does this escalate it? I wish someone in the Oval Office would have asked him.
All right, so Harris, we've heard him telling them step back. He's telling Japan step up on defending the Strait of Hormuz. Let's just play that clip for listeners right now, and then we'll get your reaction on the other side.
Look, I expect Japan to step up because, we have that kind of relationship, and we step up for Japan. We have 45,000 soldiers in Japan. We spend a lot of money on Japan, and we've had that kind of a relationship. So I'm not surprised that they would step up. We don't need much. We don't need anything.
Will the true ally please step up?
Yeah, I think he means it. You know who the real loser is on that reinsurance policy situation going on is Lords of London. I mean, they pulled out. That was like part of this whole scenario here, too. The UK is in a sticky wicket. I mean, all of Europe. And what they just hit.
Yeah, they're fucked. Yeah, they're completely fucked. And guess who's the one who fucked them? It's like America fucked the shit out of the UK because they started this proxy, or sorry, not started. They in my opinion, prolonged this proxy war with Russia. Russia and Ukraine, like Russia invaded Ukraine. Yes, that was illegal and offensive. I am opposed to that. For those who are unaware, I am opposed to Russia's illegal and offensive invasion of Ukraine. However, there were plenty of opportunities where Ukraine had a much better standing, where they could have negotiated a peace that was relatively beneficial to the Ukrainian people. And we said no over and over again. We told Ukraine, no, you are not going to take that peace deal. No, you are not going to take. And granted, I think their leadership probably also thought this. They were probably as brainwashed as the American people, thinking that Ukraine was going to recover all of its territory or whatever, which was stupid, very stupid to think. But anyway, so that led to sanctions on Russia, the global sanctions campaign on Russia that Biden successfully got the entire world to agree to, and nobody started consuming Russia, or nobody has been consuming Russia oil, which primarily was terrible for EU because all of their energy prices are now like sky high, which means all of their products that they create, their prices are sky high, which means everybody's going to China to buy the same products for a lot cheaper now instead of going to the EU. So yeah, we completely fucked them in terms of energy and then forced them to depend on our energy. And now we're fucking up their entire lifeline, which was the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East Gulf countries for energy. And it's like, yeah, we just keep fucking with the EU. We just say, keep taking it, bitch. Keep taking it, bitch. And then they're like, yes, dear sir, we will keep taking it. Can we please have some more? Like, that's how, because they're just vassalized little, I don't know, vassalized little cretins over there. They need to, dude, I'd said before, they just need to, as a bloc, say, we're done. Or China, please, we need a counterbalance. Please, China.
The Bazan facility that Kayleigh was just talking about is the main refinery in Israel and supplies more than half of the country's diesel, gasoline, and kerosene.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how we got to the point where they're going.
I spilled some coffee on my shorts. Luckily, my shorts are coffee colored, so I think it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But sorry about that. Sorry for all the. Maybe I'll cut this part from the actual VOD. Who knows?
Facility that Kaylee was just talking about is the main refinery in Israel and supplies more than half of the country's diesel, gasoline, and kerosene. So I don't know how we got to the point where they're going back and forth with energy. Trump said cut it out. Does he then ratchet this up and hit what he said he was going to hit? And that makes it very expensive to sustain the oil infrastructure once this whole thing is over, which is what President Trump was trying to avoid. He didn't want to leave them worse off as the Iranian people because of what we have done. I did think it was important. And, you know, as we were watching at the beginning of this, the handshake, she reached out. There was certainly some diplomacy and gamemanship on her wanting to first talk in English. And the president offered, we have an interpreter. Don't be shy about using that. You know, he's a good guy, that sort of thing. And then, but she was very meticulous about one line, interpret. You know, sometimes we'll sit for a bit. She wanted her words to be loud and clear. And here's what she started with. I brought some specific proposals to calm down the oil markets. I come back to Kevin. What could that be other than helping to secure the Strait of Hormuz?
It's nothing. It's not, like to calm. It's what I just said earlier. They are calming the oil markets by like claiming that they're going to go do something in the Red Sea. But it's not gonna happen, dude. If you try to secure the Strait of Hormuz, which America is unable to do, which means that Japan, France, and all of these other people will also be unable to do, then like it's not going to do anything.
She doesn't have to send ships. She has no oil, so she can't flood the market and drop the price down. They have zero oil. So I think what she's saying maybe, and I hope this is what it's going to be, because there'll be, as you suggested earlier, in a back room, I will give X billion per month on my prorated amount to keep this insurance of the strait being open. And you will provide me with the technology to do that, and we'll rent it from you each month. Other
But
countries,
we're already incapable of doing that. We haven't been able to do that. So what are they paying for then? The strait's not going to be open, so what the fuck are they paying this price for? This is a stupid analysis. Sorry, Kevin O'Leary.
can do
Go
that
back to
too.
acting.
And she can give that covenant right in her own government. She can do that, even if she doesn't have the right to send a warship into that zone. Japanese ships are. We already have the technology in that region right now. You just got to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Kennedy, you've been asking such great questions this entire time, and with your economic and geopolitical.
I'm like, what the fuck is this $200 billion for then? Like, we're spending $200 billion, or we're requesting an extra $200 billion for this. And we haven't secured it already after spending however ungodly amounts of $1 billion that we already have. So, like, the only thing that will secure it is a ground invasion and full occupation. That's literally the only thing. Unless we're willing to do that, then it's not going to be secured. I'm sorry.
Mind. What questions should we be asking? For everyone listening and watching all of this and in this conversation, what are the questions we should be asking?
What does this do for nuclear reactors coming online? Because the ramifications long term and the disturbance it looks like Iran is trying to put in place will be the kind that, you know, their former allies and people who rely on oil from the Middle East will be feeling for years. And that's they're literally going scorched earth. And, you know, they are goading the U.S. and our allies into bombing their oil fields, which is going to totally disrupt the global oil market. And that is what they are intentionally doing. So I look at that and I think, OK, well, how does the world respond? Because places like Germany.
They're not going scorched earth. They are they're being very careful in their strategic, like, escalation or whatever. They are saving lots of cards for the future. They still have plenty of cards to play. So they are definitely not going scorched earth.
And a lot of countries in Western Europe have taken their nuclear reactors offline. And, you know, for those of us who have gone, well, this is cheap and abundant energy, we've known that was a foolish decision for a long time. So right. I think this is going to have a direct impact on the kind of energy policy that actually works. And it's not just going to be windmills and solar and all sorts of imaginary.
Hey, I bet they're wishing right now. I bet France, UK, the EU as a whole block is wishing that they had a lot more solar energy right about now. Also, look at another example that you can look at is Cuba. Cuba has been blockaded from oil for a period of time, and they might be getting more in the future from Mexico. That's a little, Scheinbaum let out something, but the only reason that they got their energy grid back up is because they have solar panels, and they're buying more and more solar panels to like basically decouple their energy grid from needing oil at all. If other countries did that, this is one of those things where like we're trying to do all this stuff to like enforce our oil hegemony, but as long as we keep doing that and becoming more and more belligerent, people just start looking elsewhere. It's a tale as old as time. It's also the same thing that happened with sanctions. We started sanctioning everybody, and all it did was start making people like look for alternatives and then finding alternatives. There's no way to belligerently force everybody to do everything you want all of the time. You have because people will find alternatives. If you want to keep people in the ball game, like playing ball with you, you have to offer things to them like as well. You have to offer material things to them to get them to continue playing ball. And so yeah, this like I don't know. This is just a little they still seem I don't know why she's talking about like windmills or solar energy as if it's some like quackery or something in this situation. If they had uh, moved more towards that faster, then they would be in a much better situation with much cheaper energy right now. It's like the exact opposite of what they're saying.
Very theoretical farms that don't power economies and continents.
And Q 3 Mile Island, right? Fox went there exclusively. That's exactly why you take a look at a facility like that and some of the others that were offline due to the pressure of we're going to spend all the government's money on wind projects and solar projects. 3 Mile Island, Pennsylvania, you want to go solar? They get fewer days of sun a year than they get cold days at this point. I mean, that's not going to work. And so that's why you see that put back with nuclear.
Well, that's kind of true to some extent. The UK, at least, is one of the most like overcast places on Earth. So maybe they might have had trouble with solar panels. I don't know. I still think that there's plenty of energy coming from our, you know, these people love nuclear energy. I have news for you. The sun is a big ball of nuclear reactors just going off constantly and sending that energy for free to us. So if you want to think about it that way, if that'll help you people get on board with green energy, it in a way is nuclear energy. It's just we're just capturing it, further away from the source, I guess.
I think you're absolutely right. The game's going to change.
Hey everyone,
I think the game will change. I think. Sorry about that. I needed some coffee, but I think that this is a game-changing situation. Everyone is going to see the necessity to move much more towards solar energy. I think you need to have a way to still provide energy in the case of a global oil shutdown. And like because especially if America does become like controlling like 90% of the oil going to the rest of the world or whatever, and America becomes more and more belligerent and fascist, like you need a way to defend against that, and the only way to do that is to find alternative sources of energy. So this will just accelerate it, and I'm here for it. There's always a counterbalance to every evil thing we do has, a silver lining. It really does. And that's one of them. This will accelerate the move towards green energy. So, that was a pretty good video. I think that was fun. Let's see if anything else in my content build playlist looks fun. We're being casual today. Casually talking about the collapse of American empire. The most casual. Well, that was from yesterday. Maybe I shouldn't do that one. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what it is. Why is it? There's no volume. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go listen to the OG neocon, the first neocon, the one neocon. This is John Bolton. I'm sure everybody is familiar with John Bolton. He is old as shit now. But he is basically one of the the most warmongering neocons that has ever existed. He was there for Iraq. There's never been a war that he hasn't been ready to jump in head first. He's always out there doing the propaganda ring every single time. He goes from station to station talking about we got to go to war. So this one, I guess, kind of caught my eye. This is from France 24 English. This is 21 hours ago. Um, and this one is called Trump could be ready to stop the war at almost any moment, ex-advisor John Bolton says. Um, this kind of caught my eye because as someone who, like, since John Bolton is someone who loves war, like, he would have sex with war if he could. um, he, the fact that he's saying that it could be over at almost any moment tells me one thing probably that the neocon establishment and the maybe State Department like foreign policy consensus, like bipartisan foreign policy consensus, does not think the war is going very good, if I had to estimate. Um, so because otherwise, like we haven't accomplished anything yet, right? So like, why would the war be almost over at any point? They still have they still have hundreds of thousands of drones. They still have thousands upon like thousands, I would probably guess, of missiles, of ballistic missiles. Um, we got their navy. Way to go. Iran's notorious navy has been taken out. Um, but they still have the capability to produce nukes and stuff. So I don't know. This reads to me as like an admission of failure. But I guess we'll see what John Bolton actually has to say. That's just my initial guesses. I like that vibe. Tete a tete.
Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest is John Bolton. He served as National Security Advisor in the first Trump administration. Since leaving his position in 2019, he has become a fierce Trump critic. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Mr. Bolton.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to be with you.
During the first Trump administration, you strongly advocated regime change in Iran, but it seemed President Trump then refused to go ahead. Are you satisfied he has now decided to do it alongside Israel?
Oh, yeah. This is what he's always wanted. This is what this dude has literally wanted this shit for 40 fucking years, man. I swear to God. Back when he was only 86 instead of 126 like he is now. He has been wanting regime change in Iran for ever.
Well, it's not clear exactly what he's decided to do. He has certainly said, particularly at the early stages of the military activity, that regime change was a goal, but his advisors have said many other things as well. I think it's clear that the Israeli goal is regime change. So we'll have to see how it turns out. I think the military...
I think they want a collapsed state.
Operations so far have been effective in doing what they need to do to help create the conditions for regime change, destroying the Revolutionary Guard's capabilities and its ability to threaten its neighbors and really countries around the world, and also threaten its own citizens. And I think the leadership in Iran has been decidedly reduced, but I don't think we've done enough to help the opposition. As the regime comes under pressure and as its ability to repress the people in Iran especially become clear.
Sorry, I want to show one thing. If X, the Everything app, is capable of loading this. Okay, if not, I'll just go back to Google. I wonder if I can pull this. No, I hate how this works. I wanted to just zoom in on it or whatever, but whatever. You see these two things? This is like, I think this is as of March 19th, so 2 days ago. These are the green line is the drone strikes by Iran over time, this being the beginning of the war. The red line is the ballistic missile strikes over time, or like how many shots they're firing or whatever. I assume per day. Yeah, per day. And you can see it did go down significantly at first for a combination of reasons. It was obviously they want to start with like a big show of force or whatever, so that's one thing. But then also degradation, right? They certainly have been degraded over time. But then they started going up higher and higher. That just says low point day 6. So now as time goes on, they're actually ramping up how much their drone strikes are coming out. I would guess that's because they're getting the drones they're opening up any of the entrances and exits for like where they store these drones under the mountains and stuff. Like they're excavating them, I would guess. So they're undoing some of that degradation, but also I just think that they're strategically trying to ramp up the pressure like more and more over time. So just for people who are unaware, that's the actual, the actual condition of Iran seems to be that they're improving or increasing the amount of deterrence they have over time, or like the amount of ballistic missiles and stuff that they're shooting over time, not the other way around. But we'll go back a little bit and see what else. I'm sure truthful things he has to say.
Countries around the world, and also threaten its own citizens. And I think the leadership in Iran has been decidedly reduced, but I don't think we've done enough to help the opposition. As the regime comes under pressure and as its ability to repress the people in Iran especially become clear, there will be splits in the regime at the top, and exploiting those divisions and disagreements is critical to pulling the regime apart and seeing it collapse. The opposition can work with leaders in the regime who don't.
He's so stupid. He's so stupid. I am sorry, but number one, we're doing an air campaign, and air campaigns have never in the history of the entire universe led to regime change. It has never once happened, okay? The only thing that could lead to regime change would be boots on the ground. That's number one. But number two, there is no opposition. Like, what opposition are they talking about? If they're talking about the people, like, on the ground who, like, oppose the regime or whatever, they all fell in line as soon as they realized that America was just going to bomb the shit out of them and didn't really care about them, right? They all fell in line with the regime. They got regime pilled, as I like to say, as the bomb started falling. So there is no opposition in Iran anymore. So who are they fucking talking about? If like the CIA is trying to like fund or trying to find like a single group in the IRGC that's willing to like throw their country under the bus for power or something, I don't know. But like at this point in time, there literally is no opposition to try and prop up from the CIA perspective, as far as I know.
Want to go down with the ship, maybe particularly the conventional military, but they need resources, they need communications, they may need weapons, and at least from what we know publicly, and we may not know everything, but it doesn't look like we're doing very much of that, and that concerns me.
I assure that we're trying our hardest. I assure the CIA is trying its hardest to find people to rise up. It's just that they're failing. So he's saying it doesn't look like we're doing that. No, we're doing it, but we're failing at doing it. The CIA is constantly trying to do this all the time. That's like their only fucking job in this war.
Right. One of the arguments, in addition to regime change, pointed by both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, is how close how close Iran was from being able to manufacture a nuclear weapon. But this is clearly contradicted
Israel's
by the most
like
recent and authoritative intelligence reports. So why suddenly this nuclear threat being bandied around?
Well, I agree. I don't, from what information is public, and again, we may not know it all, I don't think Iran was imminently close to achieving nuclear weapons. But I don't think that's required. I don't think the United States or any other country has to wait until its citizens are in dire peril before taking action in self-defense.
Yeah, you do. That's literally international law. That is international law, is that you are not allowed to attack another country unless there is an imminent threat. Now, I personally think that that's a stupid thing to put in international law, because it will obviously be used by countries like America to invade whatever country they want at any point in time that they want by just claiming an imminent threat. However, that is international law. So what the fuck is he talking about? You can't just like be like, actually there's some arbitrary point in the future, and so they're going to be dangerous to us. So therefore, we have to go to war with them. Like that's not in the UN Charter, as far as I'm aware.
I'm not sure what prompted Trump in particular to be saying that. Maybe we'll find out more. It goes, what for me is part of the mystery of why he did change his mind to take this very extensive military action against Iran, presumably in aid of regime change, because, as you say, he was against it in the first term. I don't buy the argument that the Israelis somehow tricked him into it. I think Trump had heard these arguments back and forth enough in the first term that there shouldn't have been anything new for him in it.
I don't think that they necessarily tricked him into it, but I do think the entire foreign policy kind of tricked him into it, and that they all probably told him, all probably told him that it was going to be really easy and really fast. So in that regard, maybe he's stupid, so he's probably just gonna like assume that they're telling the truth, as opposed to me, who assumes that everybody who talks to me is lying. So yeah, I think that to some extent he was like tricked into it, but also like I've said before, like Netanyahu, Mossad, they have pictures of him fucking children in a vault somewhere. So like I do think that that could impact him in some way, like if they said they were going to release it, but I don't necessarily even think they had to do that. But I do think that those pictures exist.
That's what the motivating factor for the policy change was.
Well, without betraying the secrets of the discussions then, when you told him we need regime change in Iran, what was his answer?
Well, he was against it. And in fact, he said publicly in the first term that he wanted to eliminate the nuclear program in Iran and the terrorist activity, but he did not favor regime change. And I suppose one of the reasons is that others in the administration who disagreed with me talked about the Strait of Hormuz, talked about attacks on the Gulf Arabs, and all the many other difficulties that are inherent in an effort at regime change. So they were more persuasive in the first term than I was. But as I say, it's still a mystery to me how Trump changed his mind.
Right. But to your point,
I think that in the first term, he had a bunch of like real actual strategists who told him this is probably going to end in a disaster. Like they probably told him this, what we're experiencing right now is exactly what this is going to look like. If I had to guess, that was what was happening in the first term. And in the second term, all the guardrails were off, and so there was nobody there to tell him the truth, and so he just kind of believed whatever the fuck they said. So that's my interpretation.
How can the administration say it is surprised by Iran's reaction? The Strait of Hormuz attacking neighbors' energy infrastructure. I mean, this was clearly already on the table then and probably decades before.
Absolutely. And so Trump's denials that he knew anything about it or that anybody else foresaw it is just a typical Trump effort to lay the blame off or lay the responsibility off on someone else when he sees that a mistake has been made. I don't have any doubt that the Pentagon at least went through every contingency that they could think of, if for no other reason than to say, here's a contingency and here's how we would deal with it. Maybe Trump wasn't paying attention, or maybe he had something else on his mind, but there's no doubt, both before and I have no doubt, even though I'm not there in the present situation, that he was told of all of this.
Right. You said you don't think that.
I mean, maybe, but I just think his closest advisors aren't letting him hear any actual, like, anybody of intelligence. And also, we're slowly degrading all of our, all of our intelligence departments and like everything as, Trump remakes the American military in his own image or whatever. Like it's all becoming less competent as well. So, yeah, I don't know.
There are that many differences between Israel and the United States. Trump lashed out at Benjamin Netanyahu for bombing a major gas infrastructure shared by Iran and Qatar, despite reporting that the U.S. was actually informed and on board. So do you think there is a rift? Maybe Israel hell-bent on regime change and Trump maybe ready to stop the war because of its economic consequences and its potential political consequences in the U.S.?
Yeah, look, I think Trump could be ready to stop the war at almost any moment. Maybe even as we're speaking, he'll be declaring total victory. And I think there are undoubtedly divisions between Trump and Netanyahu, but
See, I don't even think it crosses his mind. How? Like, what if Iran says, "Nah, we're not done yet"? Then what? You know what I'm saying? Like, they still seem to think that like somehow America is in control of this war. I think this war has taken on a life of its own with relatively equal control to both Iran and America in terms of escalation and de-escalation. I don't think Iran is ready for a ceasefire. I think I've heard before, and I don't know if it'll go this long. This is obviously like the propaganda that they're putting out there, but the midterms is when they said they're going to be done, or like they said they're going to keep this going until the midterms. So that's another 8 months or whatever that they're planning on doing this. So if they keep doing it, the only thing that I could see happening is Trump declaring quote unquote victory, saying the rest is up to this whatever task force that he assigns to the EU and Japan or whatever to go secure the strait, uh, while Iran just while Israel maybe continues to bomb Iran and Iran continues to respond to Israel and continues to attack American military assets in the region. Like we just say, you know what, we're done. We're out of here or something. But I don't think Iran is going to stop
But I think that's
anytime
entirely
soon.
normal in war. If you look at the history of World War II, divisions between Churchill and Roosevelt on what the priorities ought to be, divisions between Churchill and Roosevelt and de Gaulle on what the priorities ought to be, and yet we managed to get through to success. So, with everything at stake, and for Israel, they see it as an existential war too. We shouldn't be surprised that there are tactical disagreements and maybe even larger disagreements. The real question is whether they can hold things together long enough to accomplish whatever it is they want to do. And I think so far that's holding. I thought actually Trump's remarks, even as he was saying he had wished Netanyahu had not struck the Iranian gas terminals, he said, but we're well coordinated, and they moved on from there.
Yeah,
Right.
it's all
You said
it's all the double think shit that we have to all parse through as people who live in the modern age. We all have to learn how to understand double think. Uh, Truth is lies, war is peace, all that sort of shit. Orwell said it best. Been a while since I read 1984, but I remember some of them.
what is probably lacking is support for the opposition. Some are saying boots on the ground to effectively have regime change in Iran. Do you think that is still a viable option, or do you think this is out of the question,
It's probably going to
given
happen.
all the precedents, Iraq, Afghanistan, etc.?
Well, I think it depends on your definition of boots on the ground. If people mean by that a
Words mean nothing anymore, right? That's what I was just talking about. But it's not boots on the ground to just send some boots onto the ground of Karg Island, right? That's not boots on the ground, or to get like a small military outpost on the beach of Iran with some boots on the ground or whatever. That's not actually boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? It's only when we do something that's like bad or whatever. This is good. But when we do something bad, it's boots on the ground because people don't like to hear that word or whatever. But when we do something good, it actually isn't boots on the ground. This is the fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to explain this to people because this is the world that we're going to be living in for the foreseeable future, where you have to parse out these like rhetorical shenanigans that these people just love to play. You just got to understand what they're trying to do here. It's just words. It's just manipulating words to try and get people to be on board with whatever operations they're planning. And yes, there will likely be boots on the ground. I think that that's probably going to happen. I never trust the words out of these people's mouths. I only trust the military movements that are happening. And I use the words that they say as like a way to uh like to some extent parse, like I think that I can read what they're actually trying to do pretty well, but all of the military movements of the two muse, as they like to call them, um like they just indicate that, yeah, we're going to do some sort of like operation boots on the ground style, which will inevitably bleed into a full-blown occupation, as it always does. We are about to be occupying Iran, people. We did it in Iraq and now we're doing it in Iran. One letter, what's the difference, right?
major
It's a big
assault by
difference, by the
combat
way.
arms, infantry, artillery, armor, an invasion of division plus size. No, I don't see that at all. If by boots on the ground you mean special operators who are probably there already, or relatively small missions for specific tasks, the one that strikes me as most important is at some point securing the enriched uranium, the centrifuges, and other key materials related to the nuclear weapons program. We certainly
That's going to be a
don't
shit
want
show, dude.
those to fall into the wrong hands, really, whether there's regime change or not. Now, that's a difficult, dangerous mission, but the nuclear threat is the most acute that we face, and it's not.
My cat's getting on my lap, but I need to go get some more coffee here in a sec, so she's going to be sorely disappointed.
Not just a question of bombing it from the air, but if we can either make it impossible even for the Iranians to get the material that's buried underground, or secure it in place, or take it out ourselves. One or another of those possibilities.
Oh, whoops.
Right.
Sorry.
If the regime is indeed weakened, we're seeing it decapitated by the day, if I may say, there are some who worry that if it remains in place, if there is not an uprising, it will be a much tougher regime determined to, go nuclear or build dirty bombs and so on. Is this a serious concern if Trump decides to pull the plug?
Okay.
Yeah, look, this should have been a factor in the decision-making before launching the effort. If you're really going for regime change, you have to acknowledge the risk that if you fail, you will get a more determined opponent than before. And no matter how much destruction...
Why are we just doing Air Force then? Like I said, that's impossible. You can't change regime from the air. It's never happened.
Due to the nuclear program, to the Navy, to the Air Force, to the ballistic missile production facilities, to the backing for the terrorist proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis, a regime can rebuild, especially if they can get their oil back out on international markets and get enough finance to get that going again. So I think if
they're still doing that right now during times of war, like
as we say, if you want to get in this, you ought to be in it to win it.
Russia has condemned the war and obviously is losing an ally after Venezuela, after Syria. But could Vladimir Putin see this as an opportunity, not only because of higher oil prices?
Yes, I think he is trying to use the war against Iran to ingratiate himself further with Trump, having in mind keeping Trump on his side in the Ukraine conflict. So a few days ago, last week, I guess, he offered to Trump in a phone call to mediate between the U.S. and Iran, which I think is a hopeless endeavor. And I think Putin probably understood that. But he wanted to say to Trump, see, I'm helping you. Or I'm available to help you on the Iran question.
Yeah. Well, this is all incredibly good for Russia. They're gonna get such a windfall in terms of their oil sales across the world because of this. That they will be able to. I mean, I think that they will just keep. I don't know when they're gonna be done, honestly. I don't think the lines have been moving that much lately. I haven't been keeping super close track of it or whatever. But I do think Russia feels like they can just do this indefinitely. So it might be another 5-10 years before they decide to end the conflict. But I'm just saying that so like people can like prepare themselves. That might not be going anywhere soon.
And he will try and later make use of that when it comes to negotiations with Ukraine.
Okay, I'm done with Bolton here. Such a cool name, such a terrible person. I need to go make some more coffee real quick. The stream is gonna look a little weird real quick because I'm gonna try to do my starting soon thing. I'm gonna try to duplicate it and see if I can get it to work. So 1 second. Okay, let me see here. Let's duplicate. This is gonna be right back. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this. I'm going to edit it, and it's going to say, be right, and then I'm going to edit this one. I'm going to say, be right soon. No, we're going to say, be right back. Okay. Okay, people, I will be right back. It should be maybe 5 minutes. we'll say 9 o'clock. Let's see. We are back. Back to browser. Hello. I hope everyone was able to survive without me for, 5 minutes or whatever. I hope that was okay. I when I woke up, well, so yesterday I made a little bit too much coffee, so I had enough left over. I put it in the fridge or whatever for this morning for 1 cup, and I thought that would be enough. But as I hit like 8:30, 8:45, and I was getting to the end of it, I was like, man, I really want another cup of coffee. So I had to go downstairs and make another pot. But I just did uh, essentially one more big ol' thing of coffee, one more tumbler, my Bucky's tumbler. Um, So that should last me through at least the rest of the stream. You don't have to worry. I'm here for the long haul now. I'll never leave you guys again, ever, ever. I swear, I promise. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that be right back thing because it will never happen again. You can trust me. You can trust me. Don't trust me. But okay. Shut up, Siri. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, I got about another hour before I think I should probably be done to start prepping for my canvassing. Um, well, that's a fun little article. Maybe I'll actually read this one first. Next. It's an Axios article, but we'll see what it says. I assume there's probably video content of this too, but I like to read a good story every once in a while. I think not enough people read nowadays, and so that's what I'm here for. I'm here to read so you don't have to, okay? You get to listen to my shitty ass voice as it goes out every single fucking time, every time I stream, because I don't know how to properly project, I guess, without destroying my voice. But I'm gonna do it again, baby. That does not stop me. I power through the pain. Okay, so let's go and read this one because this is kind of related to what we were just talking about. But this is Trump considers winding down Iran war without opening Hormuz Strait. This is exactly what I was saying before. I don't really think this is going to happen, by the way. Trump loves to do pump fakes, like it's his favorite thing. Um, so I'm guessing that what's happening here is he's making these claims, but what's actually going to happen based on the military assets that are moving on down to the region. I'm guessing we're going to go for uh, the invasion of Karg Island sort of situation, but and like some sort of beachfront head in Iran. But you know what? Let's see what Axios has to say as they report this. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee. There you go. I am ready. I'm ready to go. So this is Trump considers winding down Iran war without opening the Hormuz Strait. President Trump said on Friday he is considering winding down the war with Iran without solving the crisis over the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Trump has said for several days that the war could end soon, but this is the strongest signal yet that he's actively moving in that direction. If he does walk away without reopening the strait, the U.S. would be leaving other countries to clean up a hugely consequential economic quagmire. Yeah, if he does this, that group of whatever Navy assets that or that coalition that he quote unquote made, they're going to be fucked. Like if America can't open the strait, then neither can they. So it's going to just remain closed indefinitely until Iran decides to open it up again. Okay, so he's saying we're getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East with respect to the terrorist regime of Iran, Trump wrote on Truth Social. He listed degrading Iran's missile capability and industrial base, eliminating the Iranian Navy and Air Force, preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, and protecting U.S. allies in the Middle East. I'm sure they feel very protected right now, most of which were attacked during the war. Yeah, we didn't protect any of them. Like they're getting their shit blasted. The only ally, the one true ally, Israel, we are sending them all of the interceptors. You guys can have whatever we got left over, Gulf states. The Hormuz Strait will have to be guarded and policed as necessary by other nations who use it. The United States does not. Trump wrote, if asked, we will help these countries in their Hormuz efforts, but it shouldn't be necessary once Iran's threat is eradicated. They still seem pretty threatening to me. Reality check. a U.S. official said he doesn't think Trump's post signals an imminent end to the war. He just said we are getting close. In the meantime, the U.S. military is striking hard and continuously. It will be a couple of weeks. Read a couple of years is what I would say. Actually, I'd say a couple of decades. I think we're going to be there for a couple of decades. I think this is just going to be Iraq 2.0, electric boogaloo or whatever. Iraq 2 electric boogaloo. That's hard to say. The U.S. is sending thousands of Marines to the region and conducting extensive strikes to reduce Iran's capacity to menace the strait. Some Trump advisors still think ground operations are likely. I certainly do, and I am not a Trump advisor, despite what people may think. If I was a Trump advisor, the shit would not be happening. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the president and the Pentagon predicted it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve this mission. Tomorrow marks week 3. Another White House official echoed the message that Trump was emphasizing that the mission was on target. Between the lines, the Hormuz crisis has Trump trapped. He can't end the war on his terms unless he breaks Iran's chokehold on Gulf oil, but reopening the strait by force would risk escalation and potentially put U.S. troops in the line of fire. Also impossible. It's impossible to do. Iran will blow up your ships if you try to do it by force. Or sorry, I don't mean impossible. Unless you do boots on the ground, it's impossible. So, that's the main thing that he said, because he doesn't, or historically hasn't wanted to commit to boots on the ground, but the task is impossible without putting boots on the ground. So that's why I think it's probably going to happen. Trump originally wanted to end the war before the end of March, sources say, but the crisis in the strait has compelled him to press on longer than he'd planned. While Trump suggested in his post that securing the strait would be easy, his team has been flummoxed over how to best achieve it. Yeah, of course it's not easy. Iran is able to shoot missiles like it's so close to Iran. Like they are going to hit your ships with missiles, 100%, no doubt about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Like I said, without putting boots on the ground to try and secure that territory or whatever nearby. The White House has been discussing options such as seizing Karg Island off the Iranian coast to force Iran to open the strait. Maybe, maybe not. He might do that. I don't know. Allies and advisors who have spoken with Trump describe a president divided over the war. On one hand, he's worried about the price of oil and annoyed he can't get allies to help solve the Hormuz closure. What are they going to do? If America can't open it, then nobody can. On the other, he's thrilled with the new raw exercise of military might obliterating Iranian leaders and military capabilities. I'm sure that that's very thrilling. I'm sure it's very thrilling to be bombing the shit out of a country. But I just don't see any strategic outcome that is good for America. We're hot. We're winning. We're hot. We're winning. He told a confidant opposed to the war who relayed the remarks to Axios. I'm sure everyone in his ear is also telling him that we're hot and we're winning. I think the opinion of the average American is a little bit different. I think at the very best, they're like mixed on whether we're winning or not. And I think most people just see it like continuously escalating. So polls show the war is highly unpopular overall, but Trump prefers to focus on the high percentage of MAGA Republicans who back it, his advisors say. Yeah, who cares about the rest of those damn libs, am I right? The vast majority of the country. Who cares about the flip side? Trump wants NATO countries and other allies to send warships, minesweepers, and aircraft as part of a coalition to reopen the strait. Like I said before, if we can't do it, nobody can. Most U.S. allies refused. The U.K. managed to get several Western countries to sign a political statement supporting such a coalition without committing to sending forces. It's going to be a lot of wishy-washy shit like this. To make America and the oil oligarchs happy, they're going to say, we're going to definitely maybe send some ships over to an area kind of close, maybe near that strait somewhere, and maybe it will help to open up the strait. Like, that's what they're going to say. And they're not gonna actually begin escorting ships or something, because all of their ships are gonna sink to the bottom of the ocean with the fishes, like the entire Iranian Navy. So that statement didn't satisfy Trump. On Friday, he called NATO countries cowards and said that without the U.S., NATO is a paper tiger. I'd argue even with the U.S. at this point that NATO is a paper tiger. The U.S. is really looking very weak at this point. It's unable to accomplish like basic strategic goals that they've set out for themselves, and Iran is able to like continuously shoot missiles at whoever the fuck they feel like it, and America can't do anything about it. America can't even intercept them. So yeah, NATO is definitely looking very, very weak right now. And I definitely want NATO to collapse in on itself. U.S. should get out of NATO. Donald Trump, I am all for it. I know that all of your neocon and neoliberals are going to that are whispering in your ear are going to say don't do it. Uh, Go with your instinct, man. Get out of NATO, and then it can collapse, and then these countries can maybe finally not be vassalized to the United States for at least I'm hoping. The bottom line, it would be an extraordinary step to withdraw U.S. forces and support without solving a major economic crisis that resulted from the war and is driving gas prices up at home. Yeah, I mean, and those consequences I think are going to just keep like whether America leaves or not, um, those consequences are going to continue because I don't think Iran is going to stop until they get a full negotiated peace deal with America. That includes Lebanon, apparently, is what they're saying, and hopefully Gaza as well. And I think if Iran has enough cards, they can like if they hold out long enough and keep doing this long enough, I think they can get some real crazy concessions from America and Israel. So, yeah, well, that was a little bit related, so I figured I would just go ahead and read it right now since I just saw it on my Google News feed. Okay, I just want to go over to my homepage, I think, and browse around. We'll see if we can find any fun videos. Looks like Brandon is live. I like him. He's the only person I really watch live on here. But obviously I can't watch him live if I'm live. That's content shenanigans. Not allowed. It's illegal. Let's see what else we got. Ever since I've started, because I've been watching more like real news stuff for my YouTube, for my streams, a lot of the like my feed has gotten a lot more like I don't know, shitty like Fox News clips and stuff or whatever that like I would never watch in my free time unless I'm doing it for content. But yeah, that's kind of funny. You know what? We're gonna do a non-politics story. Um, we're gonna watch this one. I love a good moist
Did you
critical
go
video.
outside?
I I gotta find a way to get this thing to stop disconnecting or whatever. Like it powers off automatically, I think if it doesn't receive any input from uh like from here, like from my computer for a bit, because I'm obviously listening to the audio through these headphones. So if I'm just talking a lot and not like actually listening to anything, then it for some reason like turns off. I'm gonna have to try to find a way to like disable that setting or something. I don't know if there's like an app for these headphones. I can't remember, but okay. So this is kind of related to a couple things that I'm interested in. Number one, I'm always interested in Moist Critical. I can't go a day without looking at his face, without talking about him. He's the normie speaker. He's, you know, the my normie king, and I love him for that. And I just love him, just period. Don't tell my wife. So this is about, I think I saw a brief story about it, but I think it's some fitness influencer. Uh, Warning, content warning, trigger warning, whatever. Uh, there's probably going to be domestic violence stuff in this one. Or at least discussions of it. So this is like a fitness influencer that I've heard about, I've seen randomly. He seems like a real complete asshole. He's always like beefing and getting in fights with other fitness influencers. But I think that he may be in trouble for beating his wife or something, is what I heard. So I don't know. Um, but apparently he might be going to jail for a long time, according to the normie speaker himself, Moist Critical. Um, Gadoosh God, what a name. Is going to. Sorry, I was just looking at that. That's a crazy. That's a That's a pretty cool name, I guess, but is going to jail for a long time. Let's see what Moist Critical has to say about this. The normie
side today. Did you notice that the air maybe felt a little bit better? Maybe energized you a little bit more. It just felt a little lighter.
The weather's been great here.
That's because Wes Watson, the gadoosh god, is no longer breathing any of that free air, and it's looking like this might be curtains for his time out.
I don't really know much about him, except, like I said, that he's like an asshole or whatever.
Side of a prison cell. Because, boy, howdy, I gotta tell you, this guy is addicted to criminal charges. He collects them like Pokemon cards. It's a pathetic existence, and I don't want to just regurgitate the lore, because I've covered Wes Watson a lot on this channel, but he is one of the more entertainingly pathetic alpha male gurus out there. And now Wesley's facing even more charges on top of the previous charges from the assault case a few months back that I covered. And it looks like he's going to be going home. It looks like he's going to be going back to hooping that paperwork. If you don't know the breakdown, Wes Watson is actually a mutant. He's an X-Men. He studied at Charles Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. What? His mutation is his asshole's ability to stretch to unnatural lengths. He used to preach about just how adept he was at sticking papers up his butt.
What?
He even told a compelling, riveting story about how the other inmates didn't even recognize him by his face, but only by his asshole, because he was always showing.
Wait, is this all true? Is he just like making it shit up? Because I did not know any of this. So is he like a butt play enthusiast or something? Like, I don't understand that. I don't think will play very well with his alpha male audience, if I had to guess. But I don't know. Maybe that's alpha now. Is stretching your butthole alpha? Booty boot camp or whatever, is that alpha? Who knows? Maybe.
Going off his chocolate starfish, apparently. Honestly, no one's happier about Wes Watson going to jail than Wes Watson. I bet he's got the biggest smile on his face right now, sitting behind bars, fingers crossed, praying that he gets life, so that way he can return to paradise here. And honestly, that's the best for everyone. That's where he belongs, and the rest of society is safest with him there, and I bet he will be much happier. They did him a nice kindness here. They listed him at 6 feet. He's not 6 feet.
Wow.
The top comment kind of goes crazy. He accepted the full sentence in exchange for being listed at 6 feet. I think he just missed prison, because he is currently still out on bond, I'm pretty sure. So he picked up these 5 additional charges, assuming all of this is true. I still need to watch this video covering it, while on bond for other charges. This guy actually just wants to go home. He said, I don't like it out of jail. It's scary. People are mean to me. Doesn't he have a micro? Yeah, they call him Shrimp Dick. In one of those videos he made with his ex-girlfriend, she was like going upstairs naked and he was naked following her, but the goober fucking had his camera pointed at the glass on the stairs so you could see his wiener and it barely peeked over his ball sack.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
He's got nerve.
Hey, maybe he's a grower, man. Some people are growers, you know. But if you do start with like a little, 1 to 2 incher, I don't really know how much growth can happen there. I would say at most, like, he's hitting like 4 inches if that's the case.
Dart wiener, yeah. I know we're like 4 minutes into this video and I still haven't gotten to those charges, but that's because when you talk about Wesley Watson, it is irresistible to just talk about everything Wes Watson related, because all of it is, it's unfathomably pathetic. Like, it is just, you can't help but just vomit out all the Wes lore. He is just that much of a clown. Truly irresistible. The only thing more irresistible is good hygiene. All of you should be practicing good hygiene, so make sure that you take a shower using Cheeky soap. It's the best soap in the universe. Go to usecheeky.com.
I'm sorry, Moist Critical, but I don't have the money for your sponsored branded soap. I'm getting whatever I'm getting whatever I can from like Costco, man. Like, I can't be affording this specialty shit.
.com right now. Get yourself some of the best soap out there.
A woman, the same one that he proposed to just the other day. He beat her down. He held her captive. So you guys remember just the other day,
I know this guy. This guy's Bravo, John Bravo. It says there, right down there. And I really think he models his entire appearance based on Johnny Bravo. Considering like the hair, like he just needs the sunglasses. If he just had the sunglasses, and maybe I don't think Johnny Bravo had a beard if I remember correctly. But yeah, I think that he should really lean in even harder. He should also dye his hair blonde.
Peggy putting a ring on this girl like an asshole, only knowing the girl for only a month, right? Well, that same girl that he got down on his knees and put the ring on.
Wait a second. Is his ring back? His ring case has like LEDs in it, man. Ah, that's too like big money shit, I guess. The like my when I proposed to my wife, also it's facing the wrong way, motherfucker. What are you doing? You're supposed to show her the ring, not to look at it yourself. Like what? But when I proposed to my wife, my ring came in a little box that I got at Shanko, and it unfortunately was not backlit. I'm sure it was very hard to see the millions of dollars worth of diamonds that were definitely on it.
Right. Well, that same girl that he got down on his knees and put the ring on is the same girl just a couple days later may be the one to put Peggy in prison for a really long time.
I love this Johnny Bravo guy's voice, man. This is some fun commentary.
May be the one to put Peggy in prison for a really long time when I tell you this story.
Yeah, it's not an exaggeration either. The new information here is extremely heavy. What he's done is completely unforgivable, and hopefully justice will prevail. I think this should be a life sentence for Wes Watson. We're going to dive in here. John Bravo went through the specifics of the case. There are 5 felony charges that he is now facing, in addition to everything that is still ongoing from the assault, and they are horrifying.
Peggy Watson, that woman beating piece of shit, was charged with 5 felonies in the state of Florida for beating the shit out of a girl like the coward we all know he is. And the next day, he was in court thinking he's gonna get out on bail, $115,000.
Wow.
Right? Well,
yeah, this guy. This guy, so surprised. Definitely so surprised that he beats his wife. Look, I know that like there's plenty of people who look like this. Like I know tattoo artist people and shit who like have this same like look and vibe or whatever. Or not vibe, but like the same look, but they're like perfectly nice and fine people. So I'm really only saying this because he's like clearly a piece of shit, but definitely kind of looks the part though, if I had to say.
What happened was, the piece of shit, I think he paid it, thinking he's gonna get out. But then, the judge from the other case with the monster revoked his bail, so I'm hoping that asshole wasted his money and he's still sitting there.
Now, I know I talk about Wes Watson like he's some harmless bozo loser, and he is a bozo loser, but he's far from harmless, actually.
Yeah, that's my word.
He is genuinely just an evil piece of shit. He is a woman beater. He is just an unhinged lunatic. So, John Bravo is covering the Wes Watson case, the ongoing charges right now. So, he's reporting that Wes Watson maybe tried to pay the $115K to get out on bail, but the judge from the previous case with the assault came in and revoked the bail.
So he's got a rap sheet. Yeah, he's going to jail, man. He's going to jail for a long time.
So there's a chance he is still just sitting in jail at the moment, which would definitely be for the best.
The defendant confronted her about her whereabouts as she had not disclosed. She had gone to the game with her friend. The defendant, which is Peggy, began yelling at the victim, explaining he paid for her boob job, that she was disrespectful for having her boobs out, and that those are my boobs.
Oh my
also
God.
accusing her of cheating on him.
So this
Jesus Christ, dude. These alpha male people are so fucking insecure. Ugh, I hate it. Like, no, a normal person doesn't like need to micromanage his fiance or like wife's or whatever's like clothing and shit. Like that's some pussy shit. That's some weak ass fucking shit that like only the weakest of weak men do. And if you are one of those weak men, I need you to like to go look in a mirror and know that like I particularly am laughing at your fucking face. Like if you are one of these people who are that insecure and that weak, I am laughing about you on a daily basis. I'm laughing at you in this video right now. That is pathetic pussy shit.
Where it all started in this new case, a woman that he's been seeing went to a basketball game without Wes's permission. He didn't know she was going to a basketball game with her friend, and she wore a top that showed too much cleavage for Wes Watson's liking. So he then blew a gasket, had a fucking conniption saying, like, I paid for those boobs. Apparently he had, like, paid for her to get a boob job, and he's like, those are my boobs. You're showing my melons. Those are my honkers. This is disrespectful. So he starts fucking freaking out and going ballistic about it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Wes Watson, this is actually a very common thing. This is his mentality. The women around him, he tries to literally buy them. So he like gets them expensive gifts, and when he does that, he believes it's a transactional exchange, and now he tries to like claim ownership of the women. He is a genuine piece of.
Well, that's just classic. That's classic weak man shit. Because they don't understand how to have an actual relationship with women. Like they're too they only when you only view women as a vehicle for sex or whatever, you are incapable of like connecting with them as people, and so it all becomes purely transactional, which is a very, very sad way to live your life. And I hope that all these fucking like teenagers and shit who buy like I get it when you're a 15-year-old in America or whatever, and like America is this fucking reactionary and patriarchal that like you're like it's very easy to fall into like listening to these fucking losers talk about women and like buying into like that's how you're going to, I don't know, become successful or whatever, especially when there's not very many vehicles for success. But yeah, you can like eventually you got to break out of that, and you got to learn that like that the only way that you will ever find happiness when it comes to like women and like or whoever you're into or whatever is when you see them as just a normal person just like you with their own individual like goals and desires and wants, and you find somebody who you can connect with just as two people trying to make it through this world or whatever. Like I don't know, you got to get past that if you ever want to find happiness, I assure you.
Shit.
Because sorry, this is maybe a little long-winded tangent, but when I was younger, when I was in my like maybe 13 to 16 range or something, the pickup artist stuff was huge, okay? And I almost fell into that trap. I am pretty sure that if I lived in the current day's climate that I potentially would have fallen into the alpha male like pipeline shit or whatever. Now, I think I would have made it out eventually because I ended up making a lot of friends in college and expanding my worldview significantly and all that sort of stuff. And I was just never as antisocial as I think you have to be if you're going to be like duped continuously falling into that like that pipeline or whatever. But I do see how it appeals to young men who don't have a future and stuff. And so that's why I'm kind of trying to explain to hope if there are any young men out there who ever watch this that like yeah, that's pussy shit. You got to get over it. You got to get over it. Be a real man. You can be strong and powerful or whatever. Like I'm not a very big like masculinity is evil under all circumstances or no, you can be masculine and strong or whatever you feel that is, but you should only use your strength and power to protect those who cannot. Like you shouldn't be out there using it to dominate like marginalized communities and stuff. That's like I said, pussy shit.
Buys them things and then says that they're his property now. Basically, the woman is. It's scary.
The defendant began to rattle and shake her by grabbing both of her arms forcefully. He continued to push, grab her by her hair, and slam her on the floor. The defendant then dragged the victim by her hair on the floor and later pinned her up against the kitchen table. He pushed and grabbed, manhandling the victim's face, causing a scratch to the victim's right cheek. The victim stated the defendant forcefully pinned her back against the table, causing her back to bend and hurt. The defendant began yelling at the victim, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you and your whole family." He continued to push the victim back down on the floor with force, picked her back up, and forcefully against her will sat the victim down in a chair. While holding a plate, the defendant threatened to break the plate on top of her head, told her he would grab a bottle and slash it across her face, break it on her head, and then told her he would kick her face in.
I'm skipping.
I mean, I feel so bad for this lady. Now I assume that, like, she's probably, if I had to guess, somewhat of a materialistic person or whatever. Who, if she's hanging around with these types of people or whatever, but that under no circumstance justifies any of this happening to her. I feel so bad for her. She, I wish her the best of luck. I hope that he's away forever, and I hope you never have to deal with him forever. And I hope that if you were quote unquote married to him or whatever, that you can take like half of his money at least, like, or like all of it. Like, I wish the best for her.
Around a little bit here because it is pretty hard to listen to. It is disturbing. The violence is brutal, and it's not the first time Wes has had allegations like this.
The third witness was the defendant's security guard, who told the victim to take accountability for her actions of wearing a shirt which exposed her breasts. So this asshole security guard is sitting there and telling her she shouldn't be going out to a basketball game showing her tits. What kind of world is this? When I have a girl and I'm with her, I want her to look as sexy as she can, so people look at me and be like, "That's a lucky motherfucker."
You tell him, Johnny Bravo. You want that sexy side piece to look good, don't you? This is one of those things where I feel like he probably has some misogynistic tendencies as well, because he's seeing his girl as a trophy in this situation. So it's probably not the best way to view women, but he's obviously heads and tails better than this bozo up here.
These assholes.
Wes Watson is a pile of dog shit that surrounds itself with flies. Everyone that associates with this guy and everyone he keeps in his circle is just as much of a scumbag as he is. So the security guard is now blaming her for Wes Watson brutalizing her. He's saying, "Well, you should have thought about what you were wearing to that basketball game. You brought this on yourself." What a fucking deplorable freak.
Well, I'm sure that's exactly why he was hired by him, is because he probably agrees with a lot of that Wes Watson's guy's opinions or whatever.
This security guard here, by the way, how many times do you think he showed Wes Watson his asshole? Maybe that's part of the initiation process, and he feels like a strong brotherhood connection to Wes, that he has to suck his small cock at every opportunity. Like, it's unbelievable to me how anyone could witness what happened here. There are witnesses, he is one of them, and then say, like, well, Wes was in the right. You did wear clothing that Wes didn't really deem appropriate. So, did you think about how this is actually on you?
The defendant did not allow the victim to utilize her cell phone or to call anyone. The victim was forced by the defendant to tell her cousin she got the scratch on her cheek from derma peeling. Further, the defendant told her if the police were
This is just classic abuse shit, man.
To have arrived at the residence, she needed to tell police she slipped on the rug at the residence. Throughout the altercation, the victim stated the defendant held her hostage and would not let her leave. The victim tried to leave the residence, but the defendant feared she would contact police, and due to being on parole, he could not allow it. The defendant continued to verbally abuse and yell at her. The defendant further stated, "If I go to jail, something bad is going to happen to you, all your friends, and your family."
Oh my God, dude.
The defendant further implied he would have girls jump the victim in order to ruin her reputation. The defendant further told the security guard, "Make sure she doesn't run," and had him stand by the door in an effort to keep.
It sounds like his security guard is like complicit in a lot of this shit. I hope that there's charges against him as well. Because if he's enacting this kidnapping here, because that's what it is, when you hold someone against their will, it's a kidnapping. His security guard is, facilitating that by, standing at the door and not letting her leave, or like being told not to let her leave.
The victim from leaving the residence.
This is called false imprisonment. This is another charge that he's
Or false imprisonment, whatever. It's kind of the same, I feel like, but
facing as a result of this. As mentioned by John Bravo at the beginning, he is facing 5 new charges. These are very serious charges, and as you're hearing from this case here, extremely brutal ones. This is an absolute menace. Like, this is someone who should not be back into society at any point. Again, all of this is while he still has that assault case that's going on, which, in case you don't remember, was also extremely brutal. He ran over and soccer kicked a man who was already on his hands and knees hunched over. That could have killed him. And I believe his intent was to kill him right then and there. I bet he thought he was going to go over there with like a Mortal Kombat fatality, like he's kicking a fucking field goal on this guy's skull. Luckily, the guy didn't die. But I think it's pretty clear that Wes Watson has no problem with the idea of killing someone. And now he is beating this woman and threatening to kill her. And is now...
Has he considered joining ICE, though? He could get a lot of this shit off his chest if he just joined ICE. He could just brutalize, marginalize people, and then it would be completely legal. I think I have a career opportunity for you, Wes Watson.
Even having his security guard make sure she stays locked up here so that way she can't contact anyone. So that way he doesn't get in trouble while on parole. This is a complete madman who is out of control.
So that asshole security guard and Jose both took part in this shit. They should be getting charged too, those pieces of shit.
I completely
That's what I said.
agree.
Hey, that's what I said.
They should also be facing some charges, and I hope they're in the process of cooking that up. They're not just complicit in it. From what I'm gathering here, they were enthusiastic participants in all of this. Again, the security guard is even blaming the woman here for everything that's unfolding, so I bet that vile rat was jumping up and down celebrating when Wes gave him the task of making sure she stays locked up in there. I bet he was just sitting up there, giddy, just waiting for Wes to get home to give him a little kiss on the forehead, a little peck right there. A little good boy from Wes and a pat on his tush. Like these guys should also be facing charges.
While the victim was seated in a chair, he lifted the chair with such force, he dropped the victim on the floor. The incident of physical abuse lasted approximately 40 minutes, but led into the following day. 2 days of this hell? During this time, the victim was scared and afraid of the defendant. She believed he was capable of killing her, and then him,
probably,
as he said such to her. The victim stated the defendant does have firearms in the residence, but was unsure how many. And then they show here, wow, so it's listing all the different injuries she had. And like I said, I seen the ones on her face, but I didn't see all this shit. This mother, he's a monster. Look at this shit.
Wes Watson is a monster. He always has been. And yes, I make fun of him a lot, and I clown on him a lot. I call him the Gadoosh God because this guy was addicted to reading every single DM anyone ever sent him.
I don't know what gadoosh means, by the way. It just seems like a fun word to me.
He would get trolled all the time. The word gadoosh comes from a comment on Reddit that he was like really honing in on, saying like, they say I'm getting gadooshed. Ha! Me? Gadooshed? I think not. Like, I make fun of him for all of these things. Because it is
great impression, Charlie. Keep it up.
It's like entertainingly embarrassing for this guy, but it is important to remember he is genuinely an evil worm, and he deserves to be in jail.
Yeah, I mean, we can meme on him a lot. I love memeing on terrible people, and I think it's good to do so and make fun of them incessantly. But yeah, we shouldn't also let that detract from like how evil like they actually are, I suppose, as well. We're gonna head over to X, the everything app now. Let's see here. What do we got? Hassan is in Cuba, baby. He's streaming from Cuba. He found a way. He got some bubble gum and duct tape and somehow managed to patch together an internet connection over there. So, good for him. Let's see. On our way to Cuba, delivering humanitarian aid, food, medicine, and solar panels. Cuba has always been there for others. Now it's our time to be there for Cuba. That's true. A lot of people don't know how much Cuba has aided the world, just generally. Cuba's doctors, in particular, are well known as being some of the best doctors in the world, and they go on humanitarian missions all the time to like countries that like don't have the infrastructure for doctors, and they go out and just like offer their services and shit. Um, so that's I don't know. That's really like Cuba deserves the best from us, and America is just being an imperial bully right now. So, but with America being overextended in Iran, and I think that conflict's going to last into the foreseeable future. Um, Iran, Ukraine, like potentially Taiwan, like in the future, eventually it'll just become harder and harder for America to impose its will on places like Cuba and middle and lower powers, so they can finally start to, I think, see some relief and grow. Uh, but we'll see how it goes. Boy, stacks of solar panels and 30 tons of humanitarian aid heading to Cuba. 30 tons? That's like 60,000 pounds. That's crazy. But good for them. Yeah, get them as many solar panels as you can. Um, as far as I know, there's nothing stopping like China and stuff from shipping solar panels to them. So maybe they'll just completely electrify their grid and they'll no longer be dependent on oil at all. And then America can't do shit about that. So I say keep going. Let's see. Ilhan Omar, I hope everyone had a meaningful and enjoy. This is from March 20th. Oh wait, that was yesterday. Sorry, I thought it would have said yesterday. If whenever I see a month and a day, I assume it's from a long time ago or something. I hope everyone had a meaningful and enjoyable Ramadan. May Allah reward you all, and may this e e Eid. I don't really know how to say that. I'm not very familiar with Muslim holidays and stuff, so forgive me. But bring you a renewed hope and peace. Eid Mubarak. Saeed Wanagasan Kafima Kuk. Yeah. Sorry, I have a very hard time with some of those uh Middle Eastern words and stuff. I don't know Arabic or anything. Maybe someday I'll try to learn, but that's probably not going to be for a while. I'm way too busy right now. I assume am I never know with YouTube if I'm allowed to listen to that stuff. I'm just gonna assume no. Elon Musk offers to pay TSA salaries during shutdown chaos. I don't think so. Yeah, right. Well, okay. How much you want to bet? Like, if should I go on Polymarket and place a bet? There's no way that he's going to actually do this. Or if he does, it'll be entirely symbolic, like one payment, one time. Um, Eid Mubarak, Wising. Come on, AOC. I assume you mean wishing, but you gotta get your. Don't you have a bunch of interns? Can't they read over your tweets before they post it? Wising, a joyous Eid al-Fitr to all those observing in our New York 14th community and beyond. May your fasts and efforts be accepted. Banana. Well, like I said, Rep AOC, get your interns on this shit. Pay them more or something. um, let's see about this one. Ugh, I don't know if I can listen to that either, but this is so Hezbollah that was supposed to be finished after 15 months of Israeli surgical attacks with support from literally the entire West is still monitoring the very borders with thermal cams and sending coordinates to operation room to send them to rocket artillery. Yeah. So I think Hezbollah is doing pretty good right now in their defensive fight against Israel. Um, I still don't think that Israel is going to be capable like of attaining territory or whatever. We all know what Israel's after here. They're after uh like controlling as much territory as they possibly can or whatever. So that's, I think, what they're going for. And Hezbollah, I think, will push them back, right back like they did last time. So we'll see. I assume this is just a cam. Yeah. This is just a cam monitoring, I assume, Israeli assets that are across the Lebanese border. And Mubarak, from my family to yours, Dr. Abdul Al Said. I think he's in third place right now, but he would be my choice. Or is that's not over yet, is it? Abdul Al Sayed primary. In Michigan for Senate, August 4th. Yeah, that's okay. So that's like midterm time that he'll be doing it. He's still, my top candidate probably out of that race, but we'll see if he can, break through. Okay, let's see.
Nate in Cape Cod. I just turned 41 last week, and for my birthday, I'd sure love to hear how the Dow is doing. Matt. He.
Let's hear
he'll get it.
Tell me how the
I'll
Dow's
read another
doing.
one.
The Dow.
There we go.
There it is. Oh. I don't think I can listen to that. Let's see here. Ah.
Dow is over. It's over $50,000. I don't know why you're.
Okay. Sorry, that's probably annoying. I just I can't I don't think I'm allowed to listen to stuff on YouTube, unfortunately. Let's see what else we got. PBS NewsHour interviewing Zoran. Let's see what they got.
So, Mr. Mayor, we are speaking on the last day of Ramadan. And as the first Muslim mayor of New York City, you, I understand, have been fasting this entire time as you are governing in this very demanding environment. Just give me a sense of what your days have been like.
Well, in many ways, the days look as they did before. There's obviously an absence of food and water over the course of them. This may be the first time they're seeing a Muslim in public office during the month of Ramadan and all that comes with it.
Ramadan.
For me, I am seeing so many Muslims who've been here far longer than I have, who've been doing this work, and they've been doing it no matter what the demand is.
You also chose to break your fast one day out on Rikers Island. Tell me about that. Why?
It was one of the most meaningful evenings I've had as the mayor. And to be on Rikers Island praying alongside incarcerated New Yorkers as well as New Yorkers who work on Rikers Island, it was really an occasion to recognize the humanity in others and also in doing so recognize more of it in ourselves.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Mom Donnie. He's got something good going on up there in the Northeast. What else we got? What else we got? Oh, a Palestinian children's book. Aw, that's cute. There's a magic part of the moon called Al-Qassam. Palestinians will use its magic moon dust. Don't use those two words next to each other, though. The Israelis, I'm sure, will say that this book is anti-Semitic.
Palestine on the Moon. This is my first children's book, the story of how Palestine went to the moon and changed the world. It starts out with this young girl named Zeta. She is the first person ever born on the moon. She's Palestinian. One of the principal things in this book was something her great Sido, her great-grandfather, told her. The only life worth living is a life
All these animations are really
of
cool.
others. Palestine was so amazing.
I'm hoping it's not AI, but you never know nowadays. But I don't know, seems like a cool book. Party for Socialism and Liberation. Is that the PSL? Okay. Trump's field blockade is starving the Cuban people, but farmers continue to resist. Today, the Let Cuba Live Youth Brigade joined Cuban university students and farmers to learn more about food production process under a worsened siege by U.S. policy. Trump claims his actions are in our names, but we must be clear in our opposition to his policies that starve, strangle, and deny the necessities of life to the Cuban people. I agree. That's cool though that they're learning some stuff, sending people to the countryside. Mao would be very proud. Um, ah, that's sad. Yeah, the conditions in the ICE detention facilities are horrible. And they're gonna get worse, by the way. The it's gonna like we're gonna start blending the territory between quote unquote detention centers and concentration camps. Like it's going to keep getting blurrier and blurrier, but I'm sure that we will just continue calling them detention centers or whatever. Um, but the conditions will continue to get worse. Eventually, people will start being starved. Eventually, they'll be forced into doing manual labor, for like unpaid manual labor, aka slavery. Eventually, they will, um, and eventually, assuming the fascist forces keep growing more and more and becoming more powerful, and assuming the Democrats are unable to stop it, which I assume that they won't be because they're weak and ineffective, eventually it will lead to the mass slaughter of brown people or whatever. But you know, I hope that it doesn't get that far. I always have hope. The hope that I have is not with the Democrats, though. It is with the realms of power outside the Democrats. Things like the DSA, various organizations that are local and growing, all that sort of stuff, putting pressure on the Democrats and eventually potentially taking over the Democratic Party. All of these are things that might be able to stop that inevitable future. But that is the road that we are heading down. Don't ever forget that that is the road we're heading down. Um, okay, let's hear about why are Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens all fighting with each other? I see Crystal Ball and Mehdi Hassan.
Right now, there are these MAGA podcast wars going on. And I got to say, I'm enjoying them as an observer, as an outsider.
We deserve this. Honestly,
I mean, I've never seen it.
We deserve this.
It's always Democrats in disarray,
Yeah.
the left with the circular firing squad, the right's always message discipline. Everyone sticks together.
Yep.
They fall in line.
Yep.
Not this time. Explain to our viewers who have been spared.
Oh my God.
Just give us a summary to normies watching. What are the right-wing
not
MAGA
a normie.
podcasts? What is going on right now?
Well, I mean,
It's big.
It is big. And so it would take a long time for me to give you all of the subplots. But I mean, the major fissure is around Israel. And I mean, the real question for many of these people is like, do we hate the Jews or the Muslims more, right? Like that's what many of them
sadly well put
are really fighting over. I don't want to lump everybody in that
True,
bucket, but that's the sort of flavor of a lot of it. And so the latest flare up in this, you've got, Tucker and Candace and Megyn Kelly is now kind of joined.
I think that like right now they still hate the Muslims more. However, I do think that the future is going to look pretty bad for Jews, unfortunately. I equate this a lot to, like I say, Israel is an anti-Semitism export machine. Like that's their primary export is anti-Semitism. As the conditions in America get worse and worse and people become angrier and angrier, I think that they will fall into the oldest hatred or whatever, the anti-Semitism trap of it's all the Jews' fault or whatever. However, in America, like I don't really know, like I don't think that we'll necessarily do like Holocaust stuff to Jews. I think it's much more likely that we'll do that to like migrants and stuff or whatever, like people that we're already putting in detention centers. But I don't necessarily know if we'll do like detention centers and stuff for Jews. I think that it'll probably be more societal, if I had to guess. Like people will just be more openly anti-Semitic in society and culturally, and maybe they might face discrimination. Like they may face discrimination in the same way that like black people do or whatever to some extent in terms of like I don't know buying houses or whatever, right? But I don't necessarily think that they're gonna ever be thrown into detention centers or like concentration camps like we do to migrants or whatever, if I had to guess.
That side, because she can see this is the way the young base is going.
Yep.
And then you've got Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. Actually, Piers Morgan has
But
now
it could
jumped
happen.
in and going after Ben Shapiro, and they're fighting. The latest flare up has been Mark Levin has apparently been going after Megyn Kelly pretty relentlessly for a long time,
Yeah,
because
he's got after me too. He's an awful person.
super Zionist, awful person, you know, and
Was a never Trumper, by the way.
Which
Always
is-
should remind people, and these Trump
Completely,
acolytes, they used to hate
completely.
Trump.
And that's true of a lot of the people who are his biggest fans. I mean, Ben Shapiro was not a
Yep,
Trump guy,
agreed.
right? You know, this is a sign that everybody knows the Trump era is coming to an end one way or another. He's incredibly unpopular. They're going to get destroyed in the
That's true.
midterms if they're free. And
So our only hope is that they're unable to find a successor that they all coalesce around. But I don't see the forces of white supremacy are so strong in this country. Like that is why Trump got elected the first time. Everybody just decided that he was the guy or whatever. And it'll happen again. Like they will all fall in line behind someone new. Um, once they all kind of agree who it's going to be, like, you know, groupthink their way to who it's going to be, they will all fall in line, and it will be worse. It will be worse than Trump, I'm sorry to say. There's nothing at this point. I don't see anybody. I don't see the Democrats stopping it. I don't see uh, the enough organized labor power to stop it at this point. I really do see that as like an inevitability. It doesn't have to be. We can change things, okay, people? Go out there and organize. Do your own thing. Like uh, organize your workplace, unionize, whatever. Find bases of power outside of electoralism, all that good stuff. There are ways to stop it, but we have to go. Like time is ticking.
fair remotely at all, they can see the writing on the wall, and they can also see that, you know, especially with an online young right, the direction they're going in
Very dark
yeah,
direction
it
in
is
some
a very
ways.
dark direction in many ways. They are, you know, they're very Groyper pilled, so they're sort of reading the room of
Groyper pilled.
how this thing is coming apart. And in the same way that after Bernie lost in 2020, there was a lot of like left liberal, left on left fighting and squabbling and drama, etc.
Well, liberals aren't left. Liberals are center right, but sure.
They're kind of in that moment now where Trump has betrayed, you know, some of his promises. I would say it was all very foreseeable, but they, you know, there is an element that feels very betrayed. There is a sense of who's going to take the reins next. What is that direction going to look like? And so all of these personal grievances also that were underneath the surface, those are coming up too, which is why I say like partly it's about Israel and like Jews versus Muslims. Partly it's just these like incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Maybe I'll watch that full thing at some point. Oh, is this the Afro Man shit?
Afro Man will bring it to ya. Afro Man is gonna do ya.
Okay. I don't know if I can watch that either. I don't want to get. I don't want to go through what those poor cops did, what Afro Man did to those poor cops. Like, I don't want to get in a legal fight with Afro Man. I am out of this, dude. Okay, you don't have to come after me. I will not play your video on my stream. Okay. He's got me petrified. Oh man. But anyway, Kneecap, we're in Cuba as part of the Nuestra America convoy and the siege of Cuba. Let's see what they have to say. 10 seconds.
We, as Irish people, were Britain's first colony, and we have grown up in our old days with an understanding of colonialism and oppression.
Okay, this is very short, but I liked it. Those 10 seconds, they were a good 10 seconds. They chose the right 10 seconds to post, I guess. What's that mean? His culture is not your costume? Are they talking to me? Are they saying I'm trying to yoink Hassan's culture? I don't know. Oh. No, they're talking about this. CNN's Jake Tapper on why he's anchoring the lead from his office. Oh, okay, I get it. It took me a second. Sometimes I'm not good at X or whatever, or Twitter. I don't understand how, like, what order to read things. Like, this is what they're responding to. So I should have read this first. Okay, CNN's Jake Tapper on why he's anchoring the lead from his office. So Jake Tapper, I guess, is doing some home style streaming or whatever, just like Hassan is. So they're saying his culture is not your costume, which calling Twitch or like streamer stuff culture is a little bit being a little loosey goosey. I don't consider anything that I do here as cultured. In fact, I think everything I do here is very uncultured. I am an uncultured swine, okay? Streaming is for the uncultured like me. I do think that I am a cultured person, but when I go into streamer mode, that is out the window, baby. um, by the way, I was saying like, wow, look at this setup, man. Maybe one day, maybe one day if I can justify the cost, I'll get a better setup. But yeah, this is crazy. If I did though, I would probably have to move it to a different room. I would have to say if I did my gaming room like where I currently stream would have to be just for gaming. I'd have to do this in another room probably. Um, because that's like too big to put in our gaming room if I had to guess. And also our gaming room doesn't at some point I want to get an electrician in here to get some more power supply up here because uh it has some problems. I'm currently my wife's computer, like her gaming setup, her gaming rig is all where we have an extension cord coming from another room to be on a different circuit breaker or whatever. So I need to get that fixed as well, but I ain't got the money. Oh, Bernie finally says it. Okay, let's see. What's today's date? 3/21/2026. So he's about, what, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years too late? Well, thank you, Bernie, for finally getting on board. But let's hear him say it.
Is there hope of success? I would like to think so. I wouldn't bet the farm on it. You got a lot of people here in Congress who are under the thumb of AIPAC and other special interests. The bottom line is that to give another 20,000 bombs to a country which committed genocide in Gaza happens to be, among many other things, forget the moral issue, happens to be in violation of American law. You don't sell arms, according to American law, to countries.
Look. Better late than never. This was one of the most disappointing things that he has ever done to me. Like to me personally, I guess. No, for like his inability to call it a genocide, I don't know if it stems, I don't know exactly what it stems from. I think that if it was any other country doing what they were doing to another group of people, I think he would have been willing to call it a genocide. So I do think it has to do with it being Israel in particular. But he did materially try to get bills passed that would stop this stuff. So that's what I will say about that. His rhetoric was bad, and he should have been better on it. And I think that at the very least at this point, whether he believes it's a genocide or not, he kind of realizes that it's probably doing more political damage than good to keep trying to weasel his way out of using the word. So he's probably like, okay, I guess I got to do it. So this one says, I'm going to post this video every day so we never forget what the 34th time piece of, or 34th, I assume, president or convicted felon who incites political violence, adjudicated rapist, and pedophile Trump did on J6. Yeah, well, that is what insurrection looks like. But, we live in America where there's no consequences for anyone who has a remote bit of power. So, what are you going to do? That's why I keep saying also you can't keep throwing these people in prison because the next president is just going to let them all loose. So if we go after the fascist thugs and stuff, I'm sorry, prison is not an option. You got to either, denaturalize and deport them or sentence them to death. Those are the only two options that are left now because Donald Trump has shown that because we allow our prisoners to be like or the prison sentence to be undone at the drop of a pen by the next president, we cannot have a justice system that works like that. So those are the only two options left. Now we could get rid of that option as well. I mean, that would be my preferred outcome is make it illegal or make there no possibility of pardoning prisoners from the by the president because that's too much power for one person to have. But, I don't think we're going to do that. So like I said, either death sentence or denaturalize and deport. Um, Another Bernie ad. Ugh, I don't want to watch that. He's too gross. I kind of avoid Asmon Gold content on my stream because he's a little rat, a little dirtbag rat. I don't like him. Oh, what else we got? Let's hear it. Let's hear
Alters is the son of a bitch.
it. Yeah, I watched a video on that the other day, but I think my stream setup, the OBS shit was bad, so it's probably unwatchable to a lot of people, but that's unfortunate, but whatever. That was the flight. Oh, Owen Jones went too? Nice. Like that. Going to Cuba. Lots of people in Cuba. Antifa Ultras. What is this? Should I follow them? I assume that they're okay to follow. Um, it's crazy, dude. The amount of like fucking right-wing freak shit that Twitter tries to throw in front of my face all the time. I'm trying to look for new people to follow for like fun leftist memes and shit. And like they're like, "Oh, do you want the Babylon Bee or do you want libs of TikTok like for your memes or whatever?" And I'm like, "No. Those people suck. Why would I want them? Don't you understand from like my feed and the people I follow that I don't want to follow fucking libs of TikTok. Like I follow some people like I follow like some people I don't agree with, like reporters that I don't really like that much or whatever, or like CNN or like various news organizations that I don't even really like, but because they do some straight news that I find good for like talking about or reading. But and I'm like, is it because I have like some people that I don't really like that much, like that the algorithm throws these like right-wing freaks in my face? But I'm like, I don't really have that many, and I just think that they're just trying to get more people to follow the right-wing freaks, dude. They're trying to psyop everybody. Okay, let's try to find one more fun one, then I gotta get out of here. I gotta go canvas for Corey Bush, so let's see what we got. We're going to see a lot more of this, by the way. Uh, Police coming to see if you've posted criticisms of Israel. Don't worry, that'll be everywhere soon enough. As Israel becomes less and less popular, they will start becoming more and more brutal. I did it again. More coffee on my coffee-colored shorts. I'm so lucky that I choose to wear coffee-colored shorts, I suppose. But okay, what else we got? What else we got? Yeah. Okay. Well, some TSA lines. I guess if you gotta travel somewhere, I'd say probably get there 3 hours early or so if you want to be sure that you're making it. Um, Luckily, I'm not traveling for a while. I don't know. That could have been a fun video, but it's too long. Sorry. What else we got? Ooh, 4,000 kilometers? Yeah, it's a pretty long shot. Pretty precise. Okay, find something fun. What else we got? Oh, okay. This could be a fun one. Let's watch Woody Harrelson complain about Trump by Antifa Ultras.
We have a guy
Associated Press
running this country who has unearthed a lot of bigotry and a lot of racism, and it seems to be more virulent than ever. So,
he didn't unearth it. Like, it was always there. Like, he just was a vessel for it. But yes, the it's a back and forth. They go back and forth. They become more racist, and then he then pushes the boundary more, and then they become more racist, and then he pushes the boundary more. Like, it's a back and forth. But yeah, sorry, this is a short thing, so I probably shouldn't have paused it. But let's.
And it seems to be more virulent than ever. So, yeah, it's strange how it seems like we're going backward. And yeah, I wish that there were a way to. I wish there were a way to get rid of that son of a and get in a great president, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and I don't know how much.
Hey, Woody, I got away. I can't say it on stream. I can't say it on stream, okay, Woody Harrelson. But if you ever want to, like, give me a call, I know a way. I don't, like, if you want to take me up on it, you can. But yeah, I know a way, okay?
Much he's going to continue to foment hatred. We have a guy.
Okay, good enough. I thought I could add a little bit more to the meme here, just for like funsies. So I think that's a fun enough one to end on. I always got to end it on a fun one. For all of you comedy freaks out there who demand me to be funny and demand me to dance and Jester Max for all of you. And I do it. I do it willingly and without hesitation because I love my viewers. I love them all, even the ones that hate me. Okay, well, good stream, everybody. Casual Saturday is complete. We watched some vids. We memed around on X. We even read an article, which I wasn't expecting to do. So, you know what? I call that a success. Now, I gotta go. I'm supposed to be canvassing for Cori Bush in about 45 minutes. I still gotta drive there. So, yeah. But anyway, well, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This has been Technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.